JJ.
I did. We are now live on Random Nonsense. Thank you guys for being here. This is episode 9? 9? Yeah, 9. I had to think about it there myself. And as always, we're joined with my boy Hefty and our new returning friend, Jeremy.
Thanks for having me on again.
Well, not a problem, bud. It was a blast having you on when we were doing the anime show. I learned a shit ton from you. I didn't even know.
It was very cathartic.
It was kind of nice. Well, I'm just trying to make sure I'm live over on Facebook because, I always seem to fuck that up somehow. I don't know how, but I always do.
That's fine.
I'm like half smart, half stupid most of the time. Oh, there we go. Now we're set. Now I can come back here and give you my full attention. So today is the two-part, the finishing of the two-part episode we started last week, where it was all about movies we love, movies that influenced us, quotes we use on the daily. And I brainstormed with Hefty when I saw him in work the other day, and I was like, dude, let's do a two-parter, but let's do this one about gaming. And as you can tell from the hat, I'm a PlayStation man. I'm curious what game console or unit do you two prefer? Prefer, that's the right word.
I'm an Xbox guy.
Nice.
I grew up a PlayStation and Nintendo person, but I just use my PC now.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like that started
a lot of people switched over.
I've started dabbling a bit in PC gaming too. It's different, but I like it. And it's pretty sweet. So
I like the fact that you can write the code. That's fun.
I mean, unless it's on the 4, I can pretty much have any other console game on my PC.
So, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. Even Switch emulation.
Even
Switch emulation is already really good.
Really?
Yeah.
It's
really good.
Nice.
Getting it's a little bit more of a pain to set up, but I mean, to have an emulator working for a console that's still in its generation and is still being sold is not really heard of.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, actually.
Yeah, the team at Yuzu, and there's another one. I forget the other one's name, but they're really good.
I love Jeff.
Yeah, me too.
NES, Super Nintendo, and PS1. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
There was actually so many great games for that. Like one, and I hate to admit this, and it's live, so I can never take it back. I have never beaten Super Ghouls and Ghosts to save my life. Dude, I can never even get past the first board or level. Yeah. I mean, I always die. And I'm just like, why is this game so hard? It was made for children.
Yeah, that's a notoriously difficult series. I just picked that up recently.
Prepare to want to snap your controller in half.
Yeah.
The first console I played, I believe, was a PS1.
Nice. Was it the small little white one when then they threw it out, or was it the big ass gray brick they used to have?
It was the small one. It was the second model they had. The one with the thing you could put on it for the flip up TV.
Yeah. I remember that.
Those were kind of cool and way ahead of their time to have those, where you could get it plugged into your car and bring your PS2 to work with you. That was kind of crazy for that time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the PlayStation 2 had a broadband connection in the back, and I ended up playing. I think it was the first game I ever played online with somebody. It was Mortal Kombat Annihilation or something like that, and it blew my mind because I'm again, this was dial-up days or in the infancy of cable, fiber optic stuff and stuff like that. So it definitely
that's crazy.
What it was today, but yeah, it was neato, man. I was like, what? And now look at it. It's everything is,
everything.
A lot of times you can't play unless you're online.
Which I think is dumb for some things. What's up, Tui? Because there's times I don't want to play online. I just want to play by myself and do my own shit.
That's how I've been these last couple weeks. I haven't felt the need to or want to play any online game. They just make me frustrated. Except there was one multiplayer game that was in beta for a month, I want to say. They got taken out, and now we don't know when it's going to come out. But it's called The Finals. When I looked at gameplay of it and the store page of it, I didn't think it'd be that interesting. But then I played it, and I didn't close it for the next 10 hours.
Oh,
That's
shit.
awesome.
Holy shit, it was so much fun. That's
That's
the
awesome,
only
dude.
multiplayer game I can think of that came out this year or the last year that was just genuine fun.
That's cool. Yeah, it is very frustrating playing online with people. It's like stupid toxic.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? But I know a lot of people that like love it. Like I my one buddy Brody just relishes being a troll because he's really, really fucking good. And he just loves pissing people off in like Call of Duty and Chivalry and stuff like that. He plays a lot and he's a natural at trolling people. And it's quite magical watching him work.
Like I used to love to play Grand Theft Auto online. I actually met a few guys that I still play games with, and we still chat on the phone. Well, not every day. I mean, we don't talk as much now as we did, but we've been talking for a good 5-6 years. And it's like, but playing in that public lobby with those people, some of the things they say, you're like, what the fuck? Like, who taught you these things? I can't tell you how many times I've been called the N-word going, next lobby, next lobby, next lobby. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. But like you said, it's good when you get like a group of people that you know and you can all play a game together. Same with Friday the 13th. The game came out. Met a lot of really cool people through that game that I'm still friends with today. And when that game kind of degraded towards the end, or at least the community did, and everything like that, it started getting really, really toxic. It was cool because we could still go into like private battles or private modes, and so there was enough of us to fill a lobby. So it was really cool. We didn't have to end up fucking with anybody else. So that was really cool.
Yeah, like I've played that game a few times, but like you just said, that's what I've run into. Like the few times I've jumped on just to play and have fun, just the things that people fucking talk about. It's not even like the words they say. It's just like their topics they want to discuss. You're like, I don't think an open world game is where you should be discussing whether your girlfriend should have an abortion or not. Like, I don't think this is the place for that. It's like, the fuck? Like, who does that?
Well, for toxicity online, I spent a good amount of time in the past playing both Valorant and Overwatch, so I've definitely been through those trenches.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's really bad in Overwatch now. Like it was bad before, but now, since they changed the rules to where you only have one player on tank, like it doesn't matter what happens in the game, they get blamed for absolutely everything, even though it's usually the support's fault.
That sucks.
So,
say I've never played Overwatch. It never looked like something I was gonna be into. Like everyone says I should. I'm just like, I don't know. It just doesn't look like
not anymore. Definitely not anymore.
Well, now I'm glad to know that.
It was good. It was good. Probably, like it had problems for a while after it came out, but it was still fun. The community was still fun once you got over the like super toxic people. But even then, like it was only really like from the skill range of like gold to like 3.4 and diamond where people were really toxic because they thought they were shit when they weren't. So they had to compensate. A lot. But below that or above that, people weren't that bad.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But once they added the one character, Brigida, it was pretty obvious that the game was going to go downhill, and it did.
Ooh. That's kind of like with Grand Theft Auto online. I mean, I still play it. It's like my go-to when I want to play. But the nice thing is they offered that where now you can sign into your own lobby and play by yourself and still like do the story mode and all that, which has been super nice because now I don't have to deal with nobody's nonsense.
That's pretty cool.
Before they did that, at the moment they released the Mark II Oppressor, everything fucking changed in that game. Like everyone had one and they just blew you up for no reason. Like I couldn't even drive from one spot to another. I'm not doing anything to make cash. I'm just playing to drive around. Like I just want to drive my car. Bam! And I'm like, what the fuck did I do to you? And then they come back, shoot me again, shoot me again, shoot me again. I'm like, what do you get out of this? Like, all I want to do is fucking play this game, and I can't even get down the street. Like, what does that do for you? Does it make your dick hard? Are you that much like happier with your life? Like, I don't get it. Like, to be that much of a dick to someone you don't know for no reason, and on that top, on a game, like, yeah, I would understand if we were playing for like cash. I'm all for it. Kill me as much as you want if you're gonna make some money off of it. But if we're just playing to play, what the fuck? Why waste your time with me?
Yeah, leave me
I
alone.
shouldn't be left alone.
I agree, but that's not the way it is, unfortunately.
It's
Well, on the topic of cash, do either of you keep up with any esports?
No, I don't. I'm old.
I watch a bit of football every now and again, but that's about it.
Well, I mean, the whole scene is imploding right now because the CEO of Overwatch League, when that started, lied to a bunch of sponsors and said that the Overwatch League would be as big as and bring as much viewership as the fucking Super Bowl.
Oh my god!
So
I don't know.
yeah, it's
That's a
pretty
big
bad
promise,
right now.
yo. That's a
The big fallout right now is officially we're basically not allowed to play Smash Brothers Melee at any tournaments anymore.
Why?
Because Nintendo released some new guidelines that if you want to be like officially allowed to have a tournament, for one, it has to be all these specific rules, like you can't do this, that, you can't have sponsors, you can't have over 200 people in person, over 300 online, and any sort of modification of the game at all, period.
Oh, that's it.
Is
Game
not
over.
allowed. Yeah,
That's
because
crazy.
not only do they use Slippy for in person for stats and just making the stream better and look better. I mean, we use Slippy for the rollback netcode to play Melee online now. So you can't have online Melee tournaments, and you basically can't have in-person tournaments either. Also, because you can't use
This is the weirdest
Universal
fucking rules ever. Seriously.
Nintendo is. I mean, I'm not surprised. They've been trying to kill the scene for no reason for 20 years. Like, they shut down
Everything. They're like wet
Nintendo's
blankets,
weird
dude.
with that,
Nintendo's a
though.
wet blanket. I mean,
And
you know,
it sucks with
good.
Nintendo. Sorry, it sucks with Nintendo because they're really bad to their consumers, but they're the only game company I can think of that is actually really healthy to its employees. Like, they have a 99% employee retention rate.
Really?
99.
That's unheard of.
That is fucking unreal.
Yeah.
Insane.
Like, when the Wii U was doing really bad, all the higher ups at the time took hits to their salaries instead of laying people off.
I remember that.
Like,
I do
they're
remember
a
that. I
good
remember that.
company to
Oh,
work
work
with.
for Nintendo?
It's just,
Damn.
it's just they don't treat the consumers well. But yeah, in 2008, I believe they tried to have Evo's entire stream shut down because they were playing Melee.
Really?
It's always how it's been.
That's insane.
It's really unfortunate because, I mean, I like Ultimate as a game, but man, DLC Fighter Pass 2 kind of ruined it. And
Who'd you get in that one? I haven't played any of the new Smash Brothers since the GameCube version.
Well, let's see. We got Min Min from ARMS, which basically you just get F Smash from across the stage, and that's not a joke. But, I mean, she's not that bad. Not too many people play her. Then after that was... All right, I'm going to fact check myself.
No, you're good. So the first game I played, I was talking to Hefty about it in the green room, was Zelda Link to the Past. That was my very first intro into playing anything from there. And I just fell in love with, like, it was just so dumb and, like, cute at the same time, if that makes sense. You're just a small little green dude running up and down, stabbing stuff with your little shield. I was like, I don't understand the concept here, but this is really fun for me. I'm going to keep playing.
Did you ever play the spiritual successor of it on the 3DS, the Link Between Worlds?
I did not know. I never owned a 3DS, unfortunately.
Very, very good game. It's similar, but
that's what I meant.
It's they changed some things about it, like some parts about the story, but the main gimmick of it is that you can turn into a painting and like walk across the wall.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. But
that is pretty sweet.
After Min Min, they added Steve from Minecraft, and
what?
Oh my god.
That sounds
so
awful.
What did he do? Just like dig into your head the whole time with his pickaxe? Like,
well, the thing that makes him busted is that he can put blocks on the stage, so he can just build in front of you and start mining to get the better resources, so his moves are better. And there's pretty much nothing you can do about it. He just came throughout the whole game. He's the best character in the game, and it's really not close.
That sucks. And it sounds like dumb too. Like, he doesn't sound like he's a fun guy to play. It just sounds boring if all you do is dig and shit. Like, what the fuck? Like that was the thing about Smash Brothers, kicking that dude in the head and sending him across the fucking thing.
Yeah, the last couple top the top 8s of tournaments for the last couple months for Ultimate have been like it would be like Steve and Sonic in the grand finals, or Steve Ditto, or like Steve and Game & Watch, and it's like, dude, I don't want to watch this.
I love Mr. Game & Watch. He was the weirdest little side character I think they brought in, and that was in what, Smash Brothers Melee, right? Where they brought him in.
Yeah, he was in Melee, and it was really funny because he wasn't finished at all. All his attributes are the exact same as Mario, and he has a lot of really small bugs. Like his shield doesn't fully cover him.
Really?
So yeah, you can just get hit out of your shield, maybe not full shield. The only way you can do that is by light shielding to cover yourself. And then half of his aerials count as special moves, so you can't L cancel them. So he's very, very not finished.
I always like playing Kirby and Melee Smash. He has that like that Dropinator move where he like turns into the weight and it's just like. I always loved spamming the shit out of that. It was fun. I would always lose, but because me and my brothers would do like the 99-man matches or whatever.
Oh, those were
they were just free for alls, man. And like I would usually get knocked out pretty quickly, but it was still a lot of fun. That was a really cool game. I really enjoyed that game.
Me and Danny used to play that together, and for some reason, I don't know if it's because we are actually brothers. I normally play as Luigi, and he normally plays as Mario. But we'd always either play against one another or like team up or whatnot. Like that was our thing. We loved playing that one.
Which is funny because now you look like Mario and he looks like Luigi.
If I knew where my Halloween costume was, I have a Mario hat. Hold on. Be right back. I think I know where it is.
This ought to be good.
That's funny.
This is great.
I wish I had kept playing Melee for a while because right now the online is really, really. I mean, it's better than most fighting games right now for a GameCube game.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
I played Captain Falcon, Marth, and a bit of no, I didn't play DK. I tried to, but I was not good enough to.
Couldn't get behind it, huh?
DK is a really good character fundamentally. It's just he'll never be able to get around the fact that he is fat and you just get comboed and die all the time.
So we're not so different after all.
Actually, I forget which tournament it was, but in the last couple of months, a Donkey Kong player did get to top 16 or top 8 for the first time ever. Like after 22 years, someone finally did it.
That's pretty impressive.
I thought it was in my closet in the room, but it is not there. So I'm not sure where it ended up after Halloween. Yeah, probably in one of the totes with the leftovers of Halloween, probably. Knowing D, that's where it ended up.
Probably.
Junebug's an incredible player. I don't know how they did it. Cause DK is just the big equalizing factor with him. Even though he has he's such a good grappler, is one, his recovery is terrible, and two, again, you just get hit by any stray hit, and that's your whole stock right there.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's why I love having you on. When we got something that you're into, I learned so much shit from you, Jeremy. Like, I knew nothing about all this stuff with Smash and all that. I'm like, why do you not hear about this? I'm learning shit every day now. I'm educated.
Well, I know it's a little bit off topic, but do you remember when we were talking about the one series, Jujutsu Kaisen, last time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the new episode for it was supposed to come out today, but all their animators are basically on strike.
Oh,
they started and finished the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero movie in 4 fucking months.
What? That's so much animation in 4 months.
That is like...
I can kind of see why they're on strike now. Oh, shit.
Like, even if you were a robot and was awake 24/7, 365, that is still unreasonable.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's like they always used to make fun of it on like The Simpsons, and then I like Futurama. It was just one of those things where like the animation studios in Taiwan were just like bah, 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 like exactly like that. Like I'm trying to think of the right way to put it. Like, you know, like like a knockoff shoe factory in China. You know what I mean? Where they're just like go, and then they just beat you. And so, like a lot of game companies, you know,
and movie.
And not I know we were talking about the movies thing, but it's funny how the two are like pretty much the same thing. I mean, they're both you know, and video games. One of the things I love about them is, you know, when I was a kid, they were video games. You know, if you played video games, you're, you know, kind of a nerd, kind of not. I mean, a lot of people had Nintendo, but then, you know, they're recognized as like an art form now, and a lot of them cost as much as, you know,
buying a new movie. Didn't you just find your OG but original Nintendo not too long ago?
Yeah, I got it downstairs. It does not. I gotta go back in.
I was hoping it was working.
I'm like, so was I. No, I have one of the retro systems that I play all the carts on. Now I want to get it working. I refuse to give up on it. I just haven't gone back in again for round 2.
Those of you who don't know, my man Hefty over here has a huge video game collection. That's why he's here.
I got a couple games.
A couple.
It's really unfortunate with the industry these days because, like, I mean, so many companies these days are going basically the same road as Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, the game that probably defined me at this point is Destiny and Destiny 2.
Those are great games.
I started playing that game as soon as it came out, and I mean, almost all my online friends I know from that game.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, this year on the 30th, they laid off 100 employees.
Oh.
People we know, like they laid off all the community managers. They laid off tons of talented people, like the composer who made the amazing song for the Deepstone Crypt Raid, Deepstone Lullaby. And they laid off Michael fucking Salvatore.
I don't know who that is, but
he made all the music for Halo.
Mm-hmm.
He was there since the company started. And they laid him off. Like
who bought Bungie again? Was it PlayStation or Xbox?
It was PlayStation.
What are they going to do with it? Everything that they've come out with has always been on Xbox.
Apparently they had plans for a lot of stuff outside of games for the IP.
Okay.
They were going to capitalize on. But this year's expansion was just really not good. And it's just been very stale, and we know exactly what to expect, and it's never anything, you know, worth playing. But the worst part about it is that the people that make the game knew it was that in that state, and there's one leaker that reportedly said internally that they were literally begging management to let them fix the game, and they wouldn't let them.
Dude, that sounds about right.
Yeah,
the deadlines, you know what I mean? It's all about money. You know what I mean? It's the same. Like look at fucking Cyberpunk when that dropped, dude. You know what I mean? It was just it was unplayable. And then CD Projekt Red, you know, that whole thing.
Fallout.
That bullshit 70. I was gonna go to that next. I should have led with that, but that was atrocious.
And I was so pumped about that game because for once I was like, wait, I can play Fallout with my friends. This is gonna be so much fun.
And I knew it was gonna be a little different than like traditional Fallout because dude, it was so empty and like there was nothing. Like, you know, there were like all the story was told through, which is cool, but man, does it get old really quickly. And I just wanted, you know, a little bit more like NPCs. I was like, I like NPCs, man. Like this could have been cool. They're fixing it, but
I hope so, because like I said, that could have been a great game to play. Like I've played it with Danny and our friend Chris because they were playing since like day one. I didn't get it for like a year afterwards. So when I first hopped in, they were helping me like gather shit to build a house and all this and that. I'm like, wait a minute, it's Fallout. Why the fuck do I need a house? Like the fuck? I'm like, the fuck? And then if you die, they can just take your shit. I'm like, the fuck is this? Like that fuck? I played it maybe a handful of times. I'm like, I haven't touched it. It's been deleted off my console forever now. Like I won't even like think about it. I'm just like, Fallout.
Well,
which sucks because I love 3, I love 4, and I love New Vegas. But yet, then you give me this where I can have the chance to play this with my friends and have the best time ever, and you just drop the ball so hard with that game.
Unfortunately, it's probably not going to get any better because they doubled down with their really bad monetization practices, they added $100 a year subscription on top of an already $60 game. Yeah, it's really bad.
Wait, but is that for the private server? Or is that because I remember they did that? They had like private servers.
I love
God. There was like a thing you could pay for to have private servers and stuff like that. But is that the same thing that you're talking about with the $100 subscription, or is that something completely different?
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Okay, I was like, dude, they added something else now.
That's on top of having an item shop and like a pay-to-win currency on top of all that. Like it's just a mess. Yeah, and it's just unfortunate because almost all of the upper management at any game company still thinks that games can be made within a year. Like it's fucking 2001 with Ratchet and Clank. Like we can't do that anymore. Games need multiple years.
So
they never get it.
It's funny you say that. I have that discussion with my brothers all the time. Specifically Tui. But we're all older. We're all, we all grew up with regular Nintendo, Super Nintendo, the cartridge games. So when you got a game, the game was finished. If it wasn't, that was that. If the game sucked, that was it. But these days, like the ones we were just talking about, and many, many others, they launch a broken game and are like, fuck it, we'll patch it. You always get the day one patch, and then there's something after that. And inevitably, it's going to mess up something else in the game. So they're going to have to patch that patch. And it's just ridiculous, man. And it's like just take the time, make the game good, make it correctly, and release it. You know what I mean? If there's any huge mess ups, then you can go back and patch it up. But like, make it playable. That's the whole point of the game.
Like,
I think.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. I think the only game that really benefited from that release strategy was Destiny, because the community kind of shaped it into a different game that they weren't planning on making. And I think that was for the better in the long run. But then they, once they hit that happy medium of like between a typical like shooter RPG and an MMO, like that happy medium in Forsaken, the expansion that came out in 2018, that was peak Destiny that year. But after that, they just went further and further into being an MMO, which is not the worst thing in the world, but like, man, it's caused so many problems. Like, you can't get anyone into the game anymore because not only do they not know what will be happening at all because they removed half the fucking content in the game.
I hate when they do shit like that. It's so annoying.
If you look at the store for what DLCs there are, it is a nightmare. Like, what the hell is that? They're still selling expansions like Shadowkeep for like $30. That shit should pay you to play that garbage. And like, I don't understand why they haven't just made like a $100, $90 bundle of just everything. There's just so much needless shit in that DLC menu, and players don't know what to buy.
We know it's funny too. It's a lot of. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, JJ.
I was gonna say real quick to go back. You guys remember how I was saying I met some cool dudes when I was playing Grand Theft Auto Online?
Mm-hmm.
This is one of my friends that I met from playing that. Like, we still talk. This is the first time he's been here, so thank you for being here, my buddy.
Welcome.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
But yeah, like, you can continue now. I just wanted to shout him out real quick.
No, I was just going to agree, again with Jeremy, that there's a lot of, I don't know. It's disappointing. It's all about money. And the funny thing is, like, so Diablo 4 in specific, and like, not just Diablo 4, but it's what I'm going to use in this instance, is like, a lot of the armor that you can find in the game is cooler looking and like better than the shit you get with like, the stuff when you pre-order, like all the pre-order stuff, the stuff you actually pay for. The shit you find in game is just like way better and way cooler looking. It's like, well, that kind of sucks. That's a waste of money.
Like, I don't know. What is it? When they announced that Square Enix was doing an Avengers game, and I'm thinking like, oh, sweet, with all the success of the MCU, this is going to be super good. And then I got it. And then I deleted it 10 minutes after I spent $70 on the Ultimate Edition. I have not touched it since.
I don't trust anything from Square Enix anymore, honestly, unless it's Final Fantasy 14.
Put out like quality work too. Like,
yeah, like, so this is an Enix game.
Hands down, one of my favorite, best longest series running. Like 7, 8, 1 and 2, and I think 5 are my favorites, like across the board. Those are the ones I'm like, oh, you got 1, I want to play 1. But like, it just broke my heart because that had so much potential to be an amazing online game. You could play with your friends, be the Avengers and whatnot. And they just dropped that ball so hard. They actually shut down the online thing, I think, a couple months ago. That's how bad it got. They're like,
Wow.
oh, nobody's playing this online. We're just going to drop it. And they let everything out for free. So I because I'm a whore, I did re-download it and grab all the free stuff. I'm like, this is all mine. So if I do actually want to actually sit down and go through the horrible story mode, I shall do that with all the cool things I just got for free. But like,
Dude,
that
just
was
stole
one
the
of
words
those
out of
games
my
I was
mouth.
hoped for and it feels like they took a shit on my chest. Like, I'm like, you guys see the toys? I'm a huge superhero nerd. I was so excited, and they just gave me a hot, steaming pile of shit and said, enjoy. And I'm like, they don't even look good. They look stupid. They're like the generic Avengers you find at the dollar store. Like, you have comic books to look at. You have
the Getter backers. They're not the Avengers. They're the Getter backers.
So much more with that, but no. So that's
Josh
why
usually pays for that kind of service.
The series that did that to me was honestly the series that did that to me was honestly Pokemon. Unfortunately, I really like those games, but the last 2 generations just, and it's unfortunate. I think Sword and Shield are a lot better than I gave it credit for back in the day, because I think everything about it is good except the fact that it's too fucking easy. I did an entire playthrough where I literally just pressed the A button and that was it, the entire playthrough, and I did not lose a single fight.
But that's kind of like how it is for all like franchises that go on. The longer they go on, I think the harder it is to keep the core audience happy and keep everybody satisfied while still bringing new stuff to the table. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing about that is that if Scarlet and Violet actually functioned as video games, they would be that. I think Scarlet and Violet at their core are actually really good games that actually try to push the medium or like the game series farther along. And it's just really unfortunate because they didn't finish it and it runs like complete ass to where even casual players will realize or like will recognize, like the people that don't even know what a frame rate is will realize how bad the game feels because it runs at like 15, 20 all the time. And if anything is happening on screen, it goes to single digits. It's
Are you serious?
Terrible. And they haven't fixed
insane.
it. They're releasing DLC for it and they still haven't fixed it.
That's embarrassing.
And if it wasn't for just that, Scarlet and Violet would be really good games. It's really unfortunate. Well,
I sadly have to admit the last Pokemon game I played was Gold. It was like the last one I played. I haven't had a Game Boy in years. I don't know.
The first Pokemon game I played was the remake of Silver and Gold on the DS. I think from Generation 3 to 7, halfway through 7, was when Pokemon was, unstoppable. All the games that came out were good.
Yeah.
But I think the game that made it start going down was the upgraded version they released for Sun and Moon, the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Man, they just, like they said they were fixing all the problems, like there's too many cutscenes and all that kind of stuff. They said they were fixing that problem. They they added more and ruined the story, so you don't even want to sit through the cutscenes. So the gameplay was better, but I like Sun and Moon because the story is so good. And if you ruin that, then I don't care. But then after that, it's like the generations would be fine if they just didn't have that one big problem. Like Sword and Shield's way too easy and Scarlet and Violet don't work. And competitive for Scarlet and Violet is really bad. The power creep is just unbelievable. Like competitive Pokemon is in fucking shambles right now.
Oh, that I can believe. That I can absolutely believe.
So bad. Like we had Pokemon that because the competitive system is separated into tiers. So even if you want to use worst Pokemon, there's a tier that you can play in where the Pokemon in that tier, they're all around the same amount, the same usefulness. So half 90% of the Pokemon in the game don't just get left to rot and not do anything. I mean, we've had the 3 tiers that people play the most is Ubers, OU, and UU. OU is standard play.
Okay.
That's where most of the pseudo legendaries and stuff go. Ubers is where the legendaries go pretty much. Garchomp was in OU for the past like almost 5 generations, and it's terrible now. And that's only because everything is so much better. That the Pokemon that people have been using and have been calling one of the best in the game for years is just like unusable now. Yeah. It's so weird. And then you have like, because of the gimmick of that generation is once a match you can change the type of one of your Pokemon.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool on paper, but
now I feel bad for saying it's cool, because in my head it sounds cool, but now
for the game itself, it is very cool. For the game itself, it's good. For competitive, it's really bad. For official competitive, it's not that bad because you can see the other team and what all their what their type they can change into before the game starts. So you know what to expect
accordingly. Yeah.
But the competitive simulator that people use, Pokemon Showdown, it doesn't. So you can just lose because you made the
guess wrong.
you missed the 1 in 18 guess. But there's so many like really weird little things, or like little Pokemon that just shoot up because of that gimmick. Like one Pokemon that people use but not a ton was Gliscor for a while.
Okay.
He's like one of the best in the game now. Like he's in Ubers now as just a regular Pokemon, because he is like, you can't do anything against him. It's really funny because you run Toxic Orb and his ability Poison Heal, so you can't give him any statuses. You run the changing him to Water type on him. What do? You literally can't do anything. Yeah. It's really funny.
You painted into a corner. Yeah, my buddy, and it was funny because I know Pokemon's like still big and everything, and they have so many games. But my buddy was showing me the other day. It was one that I'd never even heard of. He was like, I use this sleep tracking app. He's like, but check it out. And he's got Pokemon Sleep. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Dude, it's like a sleep tracking app. And you catch Pokemon based on like your sleep routine and stuff like that. Like it tracks all this different stuff. It's ridiculous. I had no idea this thing existed. Cool. So I was telling my other buddy Brody about it. And he's like, oh, yeah, I have that. And I'm like, what is going on right now? I never heard of this. And like, I've known you guys for years, and I'm just finding out about this shit. I was blown away. I was like, that is crazy.
I got one for you both, because everyone has these. What's your top 5 guilty pleasure games? You don't tell anyone else you play, because there are those games that if you tell someone, they're like, oh, why you play that? It's trash. But it makes your heart happy when you play it.
That's every game in my library.
I love you, dude.
I have a lot of those too.
I do.
Yeah, dude. I can't.
Well, my biggest one is that children's MMO from 2008 that was advertised everywhere at the time called Wizard 101.
No, I don't.
That sounds really familiar.
Not 100% sure. Won't lie. Sorry.
No, you're good. If you look up an ad for it, I guarantee you've seen it before.
Oh yeah, probably. Like I said, it sounds super familiar.
That's the only MMO that I still play every week. Like,
nice.
It's surprisingly good, and they update a lot. Like, we get a new world, I think this month. The only big problem with it is it's a turn-based like MMO. And it's card-based too. It's a very fun gameplay system. It's just I've heard very good things about Monster Rancher. I just haven't played it.
It sounds familiar to me. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know if I've ever played it. But it sounds super familiar. Like the name of like once I read, I'm like, what is this? What is this? I think I've played it.
Yeah, that was like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jared.
No, you're good. The bad thing about it is the span of worlds that's in Arc 2. It's like 100-hour fucking playtime wall.
Come here, furball.
It's so bad. Like the gameplay doesn't change it at all. You don't get any new spells. Like you barely use any new gear.
Oh, that's
like
lame.
you just have to put a show on the second monitor and just power through it. It got so bad and so boring that my friend that I was doing with refused to play the game, so I had to have 2 clients of the game open and play it for both of us to get us through it.
Oh,
my
wow.
God.
The final world of it, normally worlds in Wizard 101 have like 90 to 100 quests for the main line.
Holy shit.
The last world, Chrysalis, had 271.
Oh my God.
I've been through the
That
trenches.
sounds awful.
I've
Like
seen
just
some
the way
shit.
he like grips his face, I feel the pain through the screen of what you went through. Like I just kind of want to hug you now, bro. Be like, it's okay, dude. It'll get better. It's okay.
And the story of it too was just awful. So you didn't even have that to pay attention to. You literally just had to watch a show and get through it. I was playing with my Canadian friend. They had never watched Dragon Ball, so we were watching Zekai through it. They had never watched The Last Airbender, so we were watching that too.
That's a great show.
And
Love Airbender.
Finally, we're just now through it. Thankfully, what made the last world Chrysalis a lot better is halfway through it, you stop to go farm a different dungeon for gear and a new spell.
Kind of cool.
And then at the end of the world, you also farm for some new gear.
Okay.
The problem with farming gear in Wiz is that usually all the gear from all the schools drops, and you can only use the gear from your school. We were farming one boss for one item, and that was our school's wand because it was insane. It gave a bunch of pierce and damage and some really good spells. We farmed that for, I think, 6 hours in total. My friends got their schools within their 3rd and 5th try. I think I was in there for 50 runs maybe before I got it. And not only is it, do you have to get the 1 in 7 chance to for it to drop for your school, but the most gear has 2 tiers to it, so it was a 1 in 14 chance for you to get what you wanted. And then there is a bad luck protection, but you need to get 9 of the tier 2s to drop in order to craft the tier 1 that you want, which is what I had to do.
Dude, screw that. That's a lot of time.
Everything about this game just sounds horrible. I'm like, why? How is it your guilty pleasure? It's supposed to be like your fun game. Like you're supposed to enjoy it. None of that sounds enjoyable.
Because even though I say that like, oh, this is so painful and ever, it's such a chill game, and it's so fun to optimize things. Like what made going through that arc fun was we had it optimized to where we do every single fight in 2 turns and every boss fight in 3 turns, and optimizing that and just playing the game while talking to friends. And I'm go buy this game now. Honestly, if you didn't play as a kid, I wouldn't play it, to be honest. It's not great. But if you did play it as a kid, then you'll get enough. If you want to try it, it is membership based. So for $10 for a month, you have access to the whole game. And if you like it, you'll get through a good chunk of it in that month. The subscription model is really good for people that want to try the game out. It's just not great for people that keep playing the game. But the first arc of the game is very good. Like Wizard City to Dragonspire are all very good worlds, except for Krakatopia. The gameplay is pretty stale there. But, I mean, I like the sound design and music so much that I don't really mind it.
That makes sense. I get that.
But if you don't have some form of nostalgia for the game, I can imagine it's probably really difficult to get through. But doing that, optimizing that with friends, and trying to get to max level so I can do some PvP and get together and do the raids, which surprisingly are extremely difficult, which is really cool. I wouldn't expect that from the kind of game that Wiz is. But if like that one comment, if anyone does play the game, just play Death. And if you don't want to play Death, play Storm. All the other classes are basically useless unless you know exactly what you're doing. Especially don't play Ice and don't play Balance. You will have a miserable time.
I think he's actually literally taking notes right now at work. I'm pretty sure he is being serious.
So
just play Death. You'll have a great time playing Death because you self-heal off your damage. You don't have bad damage. You have good health. You have good resist. Just do that. Ice is unplayable because you do no damage, and Balance is unplayable because you can't get through resists because you don't have a prism. Storm's glass cannon, fires damage over time. Life is fine. You could play just play Death. Just play Death. You'll have a good time.
And what were you about to say, Heft?
I was just gonna real quick, so I want to go back to the guilty pleasure game thing, but just to explain Monster Rancher real quick, it was a game that came out for PlayStation 1, and it was cool as shit. So like, it would have these monsters that you could raise, but like if you put certain CDs into your thing, into your PlayStation, like you get specific like monsters. So like there was, and it depended on the CD. You could do like, it was really quite unique at the time, and because you could do it off of like whatever CDs you had lying around. This was back before digital music was so huge, so we used to have to play our music off of CDs, Jer. But no, it was crazy. It was a crazy cool game. It was super good. It was a lot of fun. You never knew what you were going to get. I know they ended up making guides and stuff.
Well, that's cool though.
But yeah, it was a really, 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 really fun.
I don't think I ever played that. It sounds like I think I've probably heard of it, but I don't think I've ever played it. But now I kind of want to. It sounds kind of interesting.
I've heard that I've been having a resurgence in the last couple of years.
Yeah,
but, yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it was fun. Tui now is just being an ass. Oh, he's still gonna look into it. Right, he's got balls deep in Diablo 4 and Super Mario RPG does come out on Friday. That's right.
Oh, right, that does come out on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it'll be good. I'm not giving Nintendo money though. Sorry.
I was saying my guilty pleasure game when I just want to like play a dumb game and have the best time is Saints Row 3. It is so over the top and so stupid, but like it just makes me so happy when I play it. And I'm not gonna lie, I never make a dude. I always make a big booby girl just to let her run. She's like, look at her run, look at her go, look at her do her stuff. Like, oh, she's beating that dude up in a thong, and I know it's stupid, and it makes me sound like a pig, and I'm not a pig. I'm just a bored dude who plays games alone, and it makes me laugh. So fuck off if you're offended.
I'm just laughing because like I'm looking at you and with your red hat on and in the lighting, I'm like, so that's what happened to Super Mario.
I was gonna say it like when I got close and I saw the shop open, like, oh my god, I look like Mario.
It's so funny. I've been like, it's amazing.
If there's any other guilty pleasure game I have, it's this VR game called Blade and Sorcery. It's basically a medieval combat simulator. It relieves stress being able to just fight gladiators. So,
what's the one game you played and you'll never play again? What's that one game you hate with that fiery intensity? And everyone who's on
Dark Souls.
Really?
I want to know what dude. There's always that one game.
Dark Souls, up and down all day, every day. My first encounter with Dark Souls was like a games with gold on Xbox 360 back in the day.
It was on 360. Yeah,
I was like, this looks awesome. So I downloaded it,
same thing.
And I got, I think like 10 minutes into it, and I wanted to throw my system out of my window. I was like, fuck this game. I am never fucking playing this stupid piece of shit again, ever. I never did. I know a lot of people that love it, that relish that game, that love the difficulty, and they love the lore. But I mean, good on you. This guy's, I'm good on that.
I really, really like the Soul series. I think it's one of the only single player games that I can actually sit down and play nowadays. Nice. It's not super difficult per se. It's just that it doesn't do very much onboarding. Like, it's very punishing to new players, especially. It just doesn't tell you how to play the game well.
Yeah.
And especially the 360 and PS3 versions of Dark Souls 1 are really rough because they're 30 FPS and often a lot lower than that, and have a lot of other problems. But Dark Souls, I started with 3, and even though 3 ended up being my least favorite, like, that series is really special to me. I haven't finished Elden Ring because open world games are really hard for me to focus. I don't know if it's the tism or what, but like I just can't play open world games. My favorite out of that series is either Bloodborne, Sekiro, or Dark Souls 2, even though people really don't like 2 because they're bad at it. But I love the series, but I totally get why people bounce off of it. If you don't like click with it right away, it's really hard to. If you wanted to ever, if anyone wants to try the series, if you have a PlayStation, I think Bloodborne is an extremely good starting off point because it teaches you to not sit behind your shield the whole time, which is a problem that the older games have, or all the games have pretty much. Because it breaks that habit for you if you play Bloodborne first, and you never have that issue with any of the other games afterwards.
That's fair. It's a good initiation game and kind of get you you wet.
Bloodborne might be the second hardest, but even then, just like, I don't know, the difficulty isn't why I like it. Like, it's nice, but I just the thing I like about FromSoft games, at least for that series and like the older series like Kingsfield, is that the developers just respect you. Like, the only tutorials they give you is what the controls are and what they do, and that's it. And you just figure things out for yourself. And the asymmetrical multiplayer of it is really cool too. I love, people say they hate the invasions, but I don't think anyone genuinely hates the invasions. I think they just are annoyed that they died. Like, I think that system is just so cool that you can just be playing, like basically just playing a single player game, and randomly another person is just in your world trying to kill you. Like, that is such a cool gameplay concept.
That is pretty interesting, though. And I just have to say real quick, you have stolen like 90% of this show, Jeremy, but it makes me glad because I can see like how happy you are just to like talk about things you love.
You're very
thank
passionate.
You so much for being here, dude.
Thanks,
like, you made the show amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, brother.
Like, it like, just when you get on your shit and you know like your shit, you're going, I'm like, I just watch you and I'm like, this kid is having the best time. So thank you for being here, dude. Seriously.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Thanks for inviting me again.
Oh, of course, dude.
I almost didn't make it.
No, that's okay, dude. Your hair was wild in the green room. It was defying gravity. I was like, what? No way.
So the one. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say too. He said he was never a huge fan of Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island.
That's not a great game in any way. Like, I loved the first one of that, but the second one was just
the gameplay is kind of whatever, but the visual style of it is so intriguing to me.
I
so
love
impressive.
It was very unique. It's very unique.
It's amazing.
Well,
it's great.
Also, on a technical level, like, that kind of layering and art style was just really hard to do on this NES. So I really appreciate it for that, even if the gameplay was kind of
yeah.
So I recently bought the new Ninja Turtles Cowabunga edition where it comes with all the games.
Yeah.
So I'm scrolling through to see what games they have, and then I find the original game for the NES, like the old school big old brick one, and it instantly made me remember the first time I played it as a kid. I was like, why would they put this game on there? It's trash. That game almost made me hate the Ninja Turtles because it's so fucking hard. Like, how was this game so hard? Like, I've even retried to play it since I downloaded it. No, it still sucks. It's still hard. I can never get out of the fucking sewer. I always die. I'm like, the fuck? Like,
I used to be able to make it pretty far into that. But I would always lose it on like the rooftops because I don't think I was using the rope correctly or one of the items or something like that.
But
that was a hard game. The second one was awesome, where it was basically an NES port of the arcade game. That was a lot of fun because that was a huge arcade game at the time.
The best one out of all of them it's kind of the only reason I spent $60 on this game pack, because I want to play Turtles in Time. That's like my favorite of all of them. Like, if I'm bored, I'm sitting here, I'm like, Turtles in Time? And I'm like, and I'll use both controllers. So, like, if I die in one, I hit start right before I die and then jump in, hit the next guy and keep
over
going.
The other one.
Yep. I'm like, I'll get this shit done. Like, that was mine and Danny's game as a kid. Like, we would, like, get up at night or in the morning when we didn't have school, and we would sit there for hours just beating the shit out of that game. Like, it like, that's my go-to when I'm just like, I want to play something fun.
That's awesome. That is a fun game.
If there's one more guilty pleasure I have, it's the games that FromSoft made before Dark Souls, the Kingsfield series, specifically Kingsfield 4. I don't remember what the English name for it was. It's like The Last City or something. Well, it's not that you sucked at it, it's that the gameplay sucked. The really cool thing about Kingsfield was, one, the exploration was just awesome. It made up for the like pretty bad combat gameplay. But my favorite thing about the Kingsfield games and why I like Dark Souls 2 so much, because it kind of it's the only really game that really takes from that, is that the developers just fuck with you. And it is so funny every time. There's one trap chest in Kingsfield 4 where you open it and it poisons the whole room, right? But in the chest is the antidote for that poison.
What?
Like, that is the funniest shit in the world.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And in all the Kingsfield games, even the spin-off they had, which is Shadow Tower and Shadow Tower Abyss, in pretty much every area, they have that welcome to the game moment, like all the Souls series have, like, you know, the Asylum Demon in Dark Souls 1 just jumping on you. But in the Kingsfield games, you'll spawn in after you watch the opening cutscene, and you'll walk forward, and something will just kill you instantly.
Did you ever play Limbo, Jeremy?
No, I need to. I've heard
it's
a lot
super
of
fun.
about
It's so simple, but it's super frustrating if you like puzzle games, and it's like a very ambiguous storyline. But you seem more detail oriented with your appreciation of games, Jeremy, which is really cool because I've heard you talk this whole time, and you have appreciation for lots of different aspects of the game, not only being game mechanics or storyline, but you also appreciate sound design and art and the music and soundtrack and everything, which is phenomenal. You know what I mean? But Limbo has that just very eerie aesthetic to it, and the sound design again and the music is very just fitting. So I strongly recommend it. It's a fun one. It's only a couple bucks. You know what I mean? So
nice. I might try that out too. That sounds pretty good. I've never played it either.
Everything I've seen about it, the art direction is just phenomenal. Like, I really, really like when newer games experiment with the formula, especially for art direction. I don't like a lot of indie games these days because a lot of them are just kind of like, oh, well, this genre mashed with this genre, and nothing you like about either of them.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Like, there's so many roguelikes, and just like, man, can you just like make a game that's just one focus? Like, the last big indie game that I remember was Celeste, and that was just a good 2D platformer, and that's all it needed to be, and it almost won Game of the Year over fucking God of War.
That's crazy and not surprising. You make a good game, people are gonna buy a good game. It's only a few bucks, like I'm saying, dude. It's
like I'm gonna have to try. Like, I'm gonna have to look for it. It sounds interesting, seriously.
I'll try it out. If there's any game that I want everyone to play from here, is Celeste. It should only be $10-$20, and it is pretty difficult as a platformer, but it was never frustrating for me because you respawn instantly, and you get messages through the game that say "Be proud of your death count." That means how much you've improved. And
that's cool.
Awesome.
That's
I
a good
like
way
that.
of looking at it.
You don't suck. You're doing good. You're learning. I like that.
Not only is the gameplay really good, and the developers just know what makes a 2D platformer fun by having each like new little mechanics introduced every level that just build on each other. Not only with that, but the story is just so touching, man. It's so good. It's it's very built on the ideas of overcoming anxiety and depression. Like, that's what Celeste Mountain is supposed to represent. Because the core story of the game is that you're just a girl trying to climb a mountain, but that mountain is overcoming, everything that's wrong with you inside, and it's just so good.
Celeste. All right, I'm gonna have to look into that because that sounds really cool.
We got about
play it.
a minute and a half left, maybe 3 if we extend just a tiny bit. But last 2 questions of the show. First, what is your favorite game series? The continuation of a story, whatnot. And secondly, what is Ubisoft's obsession with parkour? Why is every game they make you're doing parkour? Infamous, Assassin's Creed, is it Yakuza or whatever that other one is? Like, what is their fascination with free running? Like, every fucking game, Nier, like first person free running. What is their fascination with that? But those are the last 2 I'm going to leave you with. Have at it, boys.
You can go first.
So I'm gonna Ubisoft. I have no answer for that because
it's
easy, it's fun, it's like the same. It's like putting a cheeseburger out just from a different place each time. You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
And as far as franchises go, they're not and it's just recently I've come to this conclusion. They're not connected story-wise, but they are thematically. It was called like the Enix trilogy, or you could throw in ActRaiser if you really wanted to throw ActRaiser in there for Super Nintendo, but it was Soul Blazer for Super Nintendo, Illusion of Gaia, which is my background, for Super Nintendo, and a game that wasn't released in the United States. God, its name is escaping me now. It's
Do you have that in your?
Oh yeah, I have all of them. I have a repro copy of the one I can't think of right now, but they're all just thematically. They have a lot in common, and they're just fantastic stories and stuff. But that's my answer.
What's the unreleased one? Secret of Mana?
No, Secret of Mana is fantastic too. I have that too.
Yeah,
no,
they
can't believe I can't for Terranigma.
Like you two are going to become friends now. I feel like I'm watching a friendship grow between my friend and my new friend.
I only remember Secret of Mana because I know they just made a new localization for it for the Switch like a year or two ago. So
yeah,
that's cool. Yeah. I'm not a big RPG guy, but I just really like, I like it when games are preserved, because the reason people pirate games is not because they don't want to pay for them; it's because they're not preserved.
I respect that, actually.
I was going to say for the Ubisoft thing because of Mirror's Edge, but then I checked and Mirror's Edge wasn't Ubisoft. So
I thought it was.
I don't know. No, it's EA.
Stand corrected. My bad.
You know what's interesting about Mirror's Edge is that they hired speedrunners for Mirror's Edge for the sequel.
Really?
And, yeah. Do you guys even know Mirror's Edge got a sequel?
No.
I love that first game. Like, it's not like in my top 10, but it has just like a fun throwaway game. Like when you're playing first person and you're running off the end of that building and all you see is like the ground as you're like flying through the air. It's kind of cool and terrifying at the same time, because you're like, there's actual humans who do this in real life that jump building to building. You're like, I can't imagine that rush that it puts on your heart. Like, it hurt my heart just playing the game. I was like, the whole time, because I thought I was going to die.
I think my favorite series probably is going to have to be the Dark Souls series, including Bloodborne, Sekiro, and Elden Ring. Right. The best way I can describe that is just the storytelling, the visual design, and the gameplay. There's one example that I always use. It's one of the bosses in the DLC of Bloodborne, the Old Hunters, and it's this boss named Ludwig. And when you first fight him, he's just like this disgusting, like Lovecraftian, like horse, like disgusting beast.
Being. Yeah.
And you fight him, and he has some lore with the rest of the game. But halfway through the fight, you knock him down, and he sees his old sword. And he regains part of his humanity and picks up his sword and fights you. His name changes from Ludwig the Accursed to Ludwig the Holy Blade, and he stands up like a person and fights you. And the coolest detail is serrated weapons in that game do more damage to beasts. They don't get that damage. They don't get that damage bonus in the second phase because he's not a beast anymore.
Nice.
Like, God, that fight is so good. It has such good music. And then afterwards, you talked, once you beat him, you talk to his head on the ground, and he asks you, like, was his group the Healing Church? Like, did it do what it set out to do? Because he's essentially in purgatory hell, kind of, where he's just doomed to hunt forever and forever. And he asks you, like, is this group of people, did they stray, or did they stay to my ideals and make the world a better place? And I lie to him every time and say that they have, because even though it's just pixels on a screen, I could never, I can't do that.
It's because you're invested into that game.
That's awesome.
That's your thing, dude. I understand that and respect the hell out of that. Actually, good for you, dude.
Oh, Soul Series.
Oh, shit, what's mine? Now I think about what mine is real quick. Oh, shit. My favorite game series. I still have to go back to Zelda every time. Like, it's by far like one of the best made RPGs out there. Like, the continuation of the stories, the way they change it up, add new things, change the artwork, the sounds, the music. Like, it always just makes the game so much more. Like, That's why Ocarina of Time is the background,
Such
because
a
that
great
is by
game.
far my tippy top favorite game of all time. Like I could play that game every day and never get bored.
T-Bone
And I will
definitely
still
agrees with you.
die at the fucking the sea quest, whatever the fuck it's called. Every time I'll drown, I'll forget where this chest is or that chest is, and I suck at it, and I always forget. But it makes me remember the first time I went through it, because I still suck at that one spot, and I'm like, this game is so great, because no matter how many times I've played it, I still like haven't mastered it yet, to the point where I've beaten it with 8 hearts before, just because I wanted to see if I could. Like, I was like, can I beat this shit in like 8 hearts and not like fucking die? Like, just because I don't know.
That's
it's like my
crazy.
go-to series. Like, and all those games have a weird soft spot in my heart. Like, that entire line is fucking perfection to me.
I used to be really into Zelda. I'm not as much anymore, but I'll always respect it because that's probably the most consistently good game series
Seriously,
ever.
yeah.
I don't think there's a single bad mainline entry. Have you ever seen speedruns for Ocarina of Time?
No,
I have. They're so good.
Dude,
I've seen some on YouTube. They're really good.
When did you last see them? Because there's been like a fucking
A couple
revolution.
years ago. It's been a while since I sat through a speed run.
They found arbitrary code execution. You can literally do anything you could possibly think of in the game now.
What?
You
I'm gonna have to look into that.
Me too. Now I want to play it now.
The main any percent route literally just does arbitrary code execution and just warps to the credits instantly. It's like, what's the any percent world record right now?
You're good.
Any percent.
T-Bone agrees with you, by the way, JJ on Zelda. He is emphatic.
Yeah. The any percent world record right now, which any percent is just beat the game by whatever means necessary. It's 3 minutes and 50 seconds. That's the world record.
Good God.
Holy shit. How do you get through that game in 3 minutes? Like I'm sitting here going through each thing you have to do through the game. Like, how you need all those things? How the fuck do you rush that in 3 minutes?
In simple terms, they figured out how to do specific actions to move specific bytes in the memory in order to do whatever you want, basically. But and then 100% the world record is 3 hours and 45 minutes. That is a really cool run. I would check that out alongside any percent, because there's just a lot of really cool tricks, especially movement and
I might actually sit
items
on my couch after the show and watch it on YouTube now, because now I'm intrigued. So I think that's what I'm doing right after we get off.
Definitely should. Check out the randomizers too. People run those a lot, and it's really fun. Really fun to watch as well. So I believe
overtime.
Sorry, can I?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say one more thing. For that, I'd recommend the channel ZFG1. Not only does he have a lot of randomizers, but he has videos where he'll have like a task of the game and he'll explain what's happening during it. So I recommend those if you want to check that out.
Okay.
All right.
I wasn't trying to be a dick. I just
no, you're good.
I know you just like woke up before the show because you worked, and I was like trying to cut it off so you could go back to bed if you wanted and whatnot. I wasn't trying to be a dick, so please don't think I was.
No, you weren't. You're good.
But on that note, this is the end of the show. We still need to work out the game for the next time. Me and Hefty and Danny got to get in the group chat about it. I will be working on an opening for the show throughout this week. So by Thursday, we should have something. It may not be 100, but we'll have something. On that note, this is my friend Jeremy down here. And of course, my brother Hefty over here.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys in the chat for showing
Seriously,
up.
like the show isn't the show without you guys. Like we need you to like chat and put your thoughts out there. Like we appreciate everything. So thank you guys for being here. We love you all. And on that note, we're getting out of here for the night because I really want to go play fucking video game now, fuckers. I want to go play. So I'm getting out. So we will see you guys next Thursday, unless I decide to randomly pop up another random secret episode, which probably will happen. So we'll see you guys later and have a good night. And, always stay spooky. It's super important. Always remember that.